Hello again, and welcome back to Right Man in the Wrong Place. My name is Luke Tatum. I react to music. Today we are finishing out the Wren Tale of Ginny and Screech trilogy. I don't know if there's a different name that people use for this, but it's Ginny's Tale, Screech's Tale, and now Violet's Tale. Quite interested to see who Violet is because there's not a character named Violet in the first two songs. I've really enjoyed what I've seen and heard so far. The directing on the music videos has been awesome. It's really cool, and it's definitely something that's outside of my usual wheelhouse. So, this is great. I appreciate everyone who has put Wren on my radar, and I'm excited to keep going. Let's get right into the music. I don't want to sit here and talk too much. I've got the lyrics pulled up on my other screen just in case, and we'll see what happens. Thanks for being here. We'll talk more after the song. That looks like Latin. Here we go. Turn off the closed captions. He sure likes the medical aesthetic. Great playing, as always. Awesome. Great sound capture for a lavalier microphone. That's awesome.
London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington is fighting just to stay alive. Rhythmic beats and bloodstains, she's our lady weep. She's tired and frail. To set the scene, we must rewind the hands of time for Violet's tale.
Rewinding effect. He's so clever. Okay, before we get into the next lyrics, I do want to say again, what a clever guy. I mean, the directing has been great, as I mentioned before we started listening, but the way that he's able to use the sound from his guitar as so much of a force in the storytelling. It's awesome. Okay, let's go.
Violet was a silent girl, grew up with violent starts. Her mother was a drinker and her father was a bastard. Every night he took a tie but never left the room. I'll spare you with the things he did, I'm sure her mother knew. Violet was a silent girl, she moved out at 16. A semi-detached council flat, paid for by a welfare scheme. Packing shelves at Tesco, stacking jars like pickled bricks. She met a boy named Stevie and he was a little prick. Violet was a silent girl and Violet she fell fast. See, Stevie was a wrong un, but he sure knew how to charm her. Every night he took a tie but never left the room. History repeats itself, he'd paint her black and blue and dark. She never stood a chance. The devil comes to dance.
Okay, gotta pause again. I gotta break this up and make bite-sized chunks to talk about. Pretty intense material. I mean, I smile a lot because I just love seeing the artistry of it all, but I mean, it's definitely heavy stuff. There's a couple of things. The use of the space, because he is miking like on himself. It's not like most music videos where you've got all these pieces of sound equipment laid out everywhere. You've got all this kind of handled in post to make it all come together. You maybe have studio album version of the song, and then they just record them playing, but it's not them playing in the video that you hear. It's the studio version, that kind of thing. This appears to be, him playing, and it's mic'd on him during the video. I mean, I see the lav mic. I'm not sure if there's probably got to be something else that's capturing the sound of the guitar, but his going into this staircase, I think the camera, of course, is accentuating the fact that you've got this open vertical space for the spiral staircase, and that is creating a new sound. And when he enters the hallway, it kind of changes the texture of the sound from the guitar and his voice. And it's just very, very cool to sort of see that done. I haven't seen a lot of stuff like that. There is a wonderful cover of Teardrop by Massive Attack. I can't remember the guy who's doing the cover, but it's a guy in an elevator. And the sound he's able to get from his guitar and his voice in this elevator is awesome. It's a really, really cool cover. If I can find it, I will have to throw that in the description box below. Has nothing directly to do with this, but it's just, it's, using the space to create the sound is super awesome. All right, let's go.
Never stood a chance. The devil comes to dance.
Oh, I forgot to say something else. So this verse here, this element of growing up in a violent household, an abusive household, the parent that is abusive, and then as an adult getting into relationships that continue that kind of abuse. Some wonderful books out there, if that's something that you or someone is struggling with, to try to find some ways that might be appropriate to help with those situations. Bessel van der Kolk has a book called The Body Keeps the Score about trauma and how trauma is, manifested in lives. I get a lot out of reading that book. It's an extremely heavy book. Took me a long time to read because every chapter you're like, you got to catch your breath for like a month. I think it took me 6 months to read that book, but not because it's that long. It's long, but it's not that long. It's just I had to take breaks. I was doing the audiobook, and so it's hard to listen to. But I'll also link that below. That book is extremely powerful, and other work by, van der Kolk, and there's other books that I haven't gotten to yet. And certainly there's a lot of stuff out there on trauma, but understanding what trauma is and what it isn't, and why especially people who have been victims of things like this can sometimes seek out unconsciously similar abusive partners as an adult. I mean, that's very, very important to understand, especially if, anyone watching this, again, knows of someone or is someone who has found themselves in that kind of situation. That's not good stuff. Okay. I'll try not to pause anymore.
Violet, why are you always so quiet? On her bedroom door and he's irate. He's been drinking and smoking, he's up late. And he stands by her bedside, she shakes, but her eyes stay shut. You fucking slut, I know you're up. And he pinches her eyelids and folds them up. Violet, why are you lying to me, Violet? She stays silent, things turn violent. That's the sound of his fists when they fall like a crashing pilot. hit like hailstones. One to the collarbone, full force, full blown. Blood's black bone, crack, knick, knack, paddywhack. One to the jaw when the tooth spat. Detached fist connects and disconnects a bone. A quick deflect to misdirect the blow. But nonetheless, his punches met her throat. Such a mess, he's left her bruised and broke. Violet, why you always so silent, Violet? Why you such a little liar, Violet? Do you think I want to do this, Violet? In character, she stays silent. Well, say something, Violet. Silence. Fucking say something, Violet. Silence. Wait. Say something, Violet. Not one word. She stays quiet. London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington is fighting just to stay alive. The doctor, in a state of shock, saw something here so very wrong. See, Violet, she was pregnant. Poor Violet, she was 9 months gone. Turning to the doctor, Violet broke her silence and she cried, if I'm to die right here tonight, please let my baby stay alive. The doctor soon regained composure, called the surgeon to come in. As Violet's world turned to black, the curtains closed, the lights went dim. In London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington just lost the fight to stay alive. A tragedy or a miracle, it happened on these very streets. Two twins aligned side by side. A girl named Jenny and a boy named Screech.
Wow. Of course, now I have to go back and listen to the other two songs, but yeah, so I mean, of course, it leaves a lot of an open question with what happened to the children, were they raised by fosters, what have you, to become so estranged, and then for the tragedy of the first two songs to happen, and them to not even realize, that they're related. That goes into a lot of other questions. Is this something that's got a genetic aspect? Is there, a certain level of, like, even without being raised by parents in an abusive relationship, is there something that still transmits genetically to the next generation? Like, are there ways that trauma can affect us genetically, regardless of upbringing? And not to say that foster care is something that is without problems. And I'm more familiar with how things go in the United States, so I shouldn't speak about things in Europe and what have you that I'm not as familiar with. I don't know all the processes and all of those things, but heavy stuff. Definitely something that bears repeating, getting through the lyrics and all that again. I'm also very impressed with his just ability to get in character and become the people in the songs. I mean, so far I've watched High Ren and I've done this trilogy, and I don't know if he's always doing this with, like, becoming characters, or if these are kind of outliers. Be interested to hear your thoughts, on that, and maybe what else I should check out by Ren. But very, very talented, very impressive. Crazy. Thank you all for coming on this journey with me. Let me know, your thoughts about the songs, about the characters, something I missed, what song to hear next, all those things. And thank you very much just for watching these videos. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all those things, whatever you're comfortable with doing. I appreciate it very, very dearly. And if you want to support the channel, the links, of course, as always, are down here. We've got the subscriptions on on Paragraph Supporter. You can become a supporter on a monthly or annual basis, and then one-off donations for particular songs that maybe you just have like one or two that you'd like to hear. Those are at Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you all again. Until next time, the right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world.